Hi, I'm Congressman Randy Nagelbauer, and welcome to the Empowerment Project. Each week we sit down with policymakers and others and talk about ways that we can make America more a nation of empowerment and a nation that's less dependent on the federal government. What we know is if the founders of our country intended for our nation to be a nation of empowerment where people were free to work hard and to enjoy the fruits of their labor, but also a nation where you are personally responsible for your own destiny. With me today is a good friend, Rob Bishop, from the 1st District in Utah, and also the founder of a new caucus in Washington, the 10th Amendment Task Force, which I'm also a part of. And Rob, thanks for being on our program today.
I appreciate being here. And don't put yourself short. You're one of the co-founders of this one, so we're working together on this one.
Well, thank you, and I think it's very important. And, as we've been talking about in the 10th Amendment Task Force is how over the years we've delegated more and more power to the federal government, which took away the power from the people as the founders intended. Why don't you talk a little bit about, the principles of the 10th Amendment Task Force and kind of some of the things we've been working on?
Well, I think you hit it right. Ever since I've been alive, we've always talked about shrinking the size of government. And whether Republicans or Democrats are in control, we haven't done it. I think for our side, we can say we probably grew it slower, but that's about all you can say. What we're talking about here is what the Founding Fathers realized, that if you want to protect individual liberty and you want to give people choices and options, it's not going to happen from Washington. So what we're talking about is try to have a new look, not change our goal, but change the approaches to it, so that we're trying to disperse programs back to people, back to states and local government and institutions where they can be done more efficiently and people can have some say and control. Because unfortunately, the only thing Washington can do is do everything in a one-size-fits-all manner. So if you want something done exactly the same way by the same people at all times in every place of this nation, Washington can do it. But if you want to give people choices and options in their life and provide for creativity, we've got to take these programs and give them back to state and local governments where they're closer to people and can be efficient.
Yeah, I think one of the points that you make there is a great point about trying to fit one size fits all. I mean, when we look at, for example, education programs in our country, it's assuming that every student learns at the same rate, every classroom's the same, every school's the same. And what we know is that's really not the case, and that if you really want to do the best job for the student, you have to get the control as close to the student as you can. I think it's so. As we move forward, how is the 10th Amendment Task Force going to interface with members of Congress to help them be aware of like pending legislation that maybe come to the floor?
Well, we want a couple of ideas of making sure that we can educate ourselves so that when something that may impinge upon the power of people or the states, we can be aware of it. And also, I'd like us to do some action items that will empower states so states can stand up and fight against the federal government and win some of those battles at the same time. What we're talking about is not simply graciously allowing states to do things. There are some things that the federal government should do here in Washington, very few, but there are a lot of things that state and local government and people can do for themselves, a whole lot. We want to make sure that we empower that to take place.
Absolutely. In fact, in many cases, there's really not an appropriate role for government, whether it's state, local, or federal, and yet many times we see the government trying to jump in and take over a role that really they weren't asked to take on. Well, thank you, Rob, for leading this effort. I think it's so important at this point in time in our country that we begin to get back to the basics, and certainly I think this task force is going to do that. Well, I want to thank my special guest today, Rob Bishop from the 1st District of Utah, co-founder of the 10th Amendment Task Force. If you'd like to learn more about the Empowerment Project, I encourage you to visit my website at www.randy.house.gov to learn more about the Empowerment Project. You can click on the Empowerment Project button and see some of the videos and interviews and some of the things that we're working on. Again, Rob, thanks for being on our program today.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to working with you on these issues.
Thank you.